Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of James Colley. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. James Terry Colley was born on April 23, 1980, and lived in St. Augustine, Florida. In 2007, he married a woman named Amanda. The couple went on to have 2 children. They lived in a 2,800 square foot house at 260 South Bellagio Drive. James appeared to have difficulty regulating his intake of substances, which led to problems in his marriage. In 2015, Amanda filed for divorce, and James moved in with his sister in a house on Garrison Drive, about 15 miles away. During one incident, James destroyed some of Amanda's property. Therefore, she obtained a domestic violence injunction against him. Even with this injunction in place, James wanted to reconcile with Amanda, and they continued to have a sexual relationship. Despite his desire to reconcile, James found a new lover, and Amanda did as well. She was dating a man named Lamar Dauberly. At first, James didn't know about Amanda's new relationship, but he suspected that she might be seeing someone. He asked a neighbor to keep an eye on the Colley family house, where James used to live and Amanda currently lived, and let him know if any men were hanging around. In August 2015, the neighbor sent James a photograph of a shirtless man mowing the lawn. This man was Amanda's boyfriend, Lamar. The reaction James had to the photograph was not positive. Referring to Amanda, he told the neighbor, "She is an evil person. She is a cheating blank." The blank rhymes with bore. "She is the worst person on earth. Now she will pay." James contacted Amanda and continued to demonstrate anger. She denied that she was having a sexual relationship with the grass-mowing man, but James was not convinced by her story. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On August 27, 2015, at 10:36 a.m., the police received 2 911 calls, one from Amanda Colley and one from a friend of hers named Lindy Dobbins. The women reported that James Colley was trying to kill them with a firearm. When the police arrived at the Colley family house, they discovered that Amanda and Lindy had been shot to death. Through the course of the investigation, the police were able to put together a timeline of what happened. Here's what they found. At 4 a.m., James drove to the Colley family house on Bellagio Drive, where Amanda lived. Amanda was not there at this time. He searched the house and found men's polo shirts and BDSM-style sex toys. These toys had been recently purchased. James texted Amanda and said, quote, "You should have just told me the truth, that this is what you wanted," unquote. He also left her a voicemail calling her disgusting. As his anger about the discovery persisted, James dumped trash on the floor and smashed television sets in the house. He visited a friend who lived a few houses down on the same street and complained about what he discovered. After this, James traveled to his sister's house on Garrison Drive. He placed multiple phone calls to Amanda, but most of them went unanswered. At 9 a.m., James appeared in court for a hearing about a prior violation of the domestic violence injunction. The judge, of course, did not know about the early morning ransacking adventure. James pleaded no contest to the violation. He was placed on unsupervised probation for a year and ordered to attend anger management classes. If this was completed successfully, he would not have a conviction on his record. James left the courthouse just before 9:30 a.m. He did not appear to learn his lesson. He repeatedly called Amanda. She finally answered at 9:41 a.m., and they spoke for about 14 minutes. By this time, Amanda had already arrived home and assessed the damage that James had caused. Using FaceTime, she contacted her boyfriend Lamar to show him the damage. Lamar drove to the house and called the police non-emergency line to make a report. At 9:55 a.m., right as James and Amanda finished their telephone call, a public service assistance officer arrived at the house and viewed the damage. Amanda refused to file charges because she did not want James to end up in jail. Therefore, the officer left. A few minutes later, 2 of Amanda's friends arrived, Lindy Dobbins and Rachel Hendricks. As this was happening, James Colley was having a poor reaction to the telephone call he just had with Amanda. After the call, he went to a gas station not far from his sister's house, drove to his sister's house, then went back to the same gas station. The police believe that he returned to his sister's house to retrieve 2 pistols, one chambered in .45 ACP and one chambered in 9mm Luger. At 10:11 a.m., James started driving toward the Colley family house. During the trip, he had a phone conversation with his father. A dog walker who was near his father overheard the conversation. She indicated that his father said, quote, please, son, come back and get your truck. Everybody knows what you've been through, unquote. The person on the other end of the phone call, presumably James, said, quote, I just can't blanking take this anymore, unquote. James drove to a street near Amanda's house, parked his vehicle, and exited with the 2 pistols in his possession. He walked across a berm and along a trail that ran parallel to the rear fence of the Colley family house. At this time, 4 people were inside the house: Amanda, her boyfriend Lamar, and her friends Lindy and Rachel. James approached the back of the house and started firing through the rear sliding glass door using the 9mm pistol. Amanda's boyfriend Lamar shouted for everyone to run, and he ran out of the house through the garage. Unfortunately, the women decided to use a different tactic. Instead of exiting the house, they ran into the master bedroom. Amanda hid in the bathroom. Lindy and Rachel hid in a closet. At 10:36 a.m., both Amanda and Lindy called 911, as I mentioned. They reported what James was doing. James entered the house yelling, "Where is he? Where is he?" He was looking for Amanda's boyfriend, but of course, Lamar had already left the house. After finding Amanda in the bathroom, James repeated his demands to know where her boyfriend was. Amanda said she did not know and begged James to put down his weapon. James tried to open the closet door, but Rachel was able to prevent him from getting in by placing her foot against the inside. Amanda explained to James that only Lindy and Rachel were in the closet. Upon hearing this, Lindy said, "It's Lindy in here. It's Lindy." James went back to the bathroom and shot Amanda 1 time, non-fatally. He returned to the closet and fired a shot through the door. The bullet grazed Rachel's arm and struck Lindy's foot. This caused Rachel to move her foot from the door, and James was able to push it open. As he did this, Rachel ended up behind the door, so James walked right by her as he moved into the closet. Rachel was able to escape as he did this. James approached Lindy, who was crouched behind a chest, and shot her in the right temple and in the right shoulder, killing her. He then went back to the bathroom and shot Amanda 3 more times with a 9mm pistol, before switching to the .45 caliber pistol and shooting her 5 more times. Amanda did not survive. James left the house, drove to his sister's house, left his cell phone, and drove north. Later that same day, a woman in Norton, Virginia, 609 miles north of St. Augustine, Florida, called the police and reported that a man was trying to run her off the road. It was James Colley. He was intoxicated. James was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 2 counts of burglary, and 1 count of aggravated stalking. On July 18, 2018, James Colley was found guilty on all counts. The jury recommended that he be sentenced to death, but the final decision would be made by the judge. At his sentencing on November 13, 2018, James was given an opportunity to address the court. He said, "This was a horrible, terrible accident, and I wish it was different, but it's not. And I'm sorry for all parties involved." The judge sentenced James to death. At the time I'm making this video, James is working his way toward execution. Now moving to my analysis. In the trial of James Colley, his guilt was never up for debate. After killing Amanda and Lindy, James had called family members and confessed. Plus, there was a lot of other evidence pointing toward his guilt, including the firearms and the 2 eyewitnesses. The case put on by the defense lasted for less than 1 hour. Essentially, their entire argument was based on the theory that James was impaired from using drugs and alcohol the night before. Among the substances he allegedly consumed was the sedative Ambien. This is not a great strategy, but to be fair, the defense had absolutely nothing to work with. The fact that James did not appear to be impaired during his court appearance at 9 a.m. on the day of the murders contradicted the argument of the defense. Furthermore, he even denied being intoxicated during that hearing. James did not appear to appreciate how much trouble he was in. Despite all the evidence against him, he actually believed the jury would find his homicidal feelings to be justified and convict him of manslaughter instead of murder. He believed he would be released in 20 years. This is amazing considering the facts of this case and how, during closing arguments, his attorney asked the jury to convict James of second-degree murder. So the prosecution asked for a first-degree murder conviction. The defense asked for second-degree. What did James think was going to happen? How is manslaughter even possible under those circumstances? Moving to the next question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. James was self-centered, immature, impulsive, erratic, unstable, insecure, jealous, failed to regulate his intake of substances, had a sense of entitlement, and was moderately creepy. James and Amanda had a complicated romantic relationship. Amanda viewed James as an acceptable partner in many ways, but could not tolerate his substance use. Even so, she maintained ambivalent feelings. She felt strongly in two directions. In one way, she was tired of James and ready to be free of him. In another way, she wondered if the relationship could be saved. Even though they were separated, the couple continued having a sexual relationship. At this point, James was functioning like a rejected stalker. He was trying to reconcile and get revenge simultaneously. There was no coherent plan. Rather, rage was driving his behavior. He also exhibited traits of a resentful stalker. For instance, he destroyed Amanda's property. Further complicating the situation, both of them found new lovers and lied to each other about their behavior. From the perspective of James, Amanda being with another man was completely unacceptable. He was jealous, in addition to being hypocritical. Amanda told people that James said he would cut her up or kill her if he ever found out she was cheating. Suspicious about Amanda's behavior, James made entry into the family house. He found the BDSM-style sex toys and became furious. Not only was Amanda with another man, she was branching out as far as her sexual behavior. James flew into a rage and called Amanda disgusting and acted like he was very offended by her sexual activity. He thought that she should be embarrassed by it. Referring to her boyfriend, he said, "I really feel like you can do better than that." His behavior continued to be consistent with a rejected stalker. James clearly did not have any strategy. He was erratic and throwing anything out there he thought could advance his cause. At one moment insulting Amanda, and at another moment apologizing and trying to win her back. After the 14-minute phone call, James escalated from being a rejected and resentful stalker to a predatory stalker. It's not clear what was said on the call, but Amanda probably broke up with James. He knew that the relationship was over and came up with a plan to murder Amanda and her boyfriend, Lamar. It's also possible that Amanda indicated that she was going to press charges against him for ransacking the house. James implied this when he told a relative that Amanda was trying to put him in jail. After retrieving his weapons, James made his way to the Colley family house. He fired into the house, which prompted Lamar to escape and the three women to hide. When James cornered Amanda and her two friends, he was still desperate to find Lamar, but soon realized that Lamar had successfully escaped. At this point, James killed Amanda and Lindy. He probably would have killed Rachel as well, but she managed to escape. His intent was to hurt Amanda as much as possible. This is why he shot her non-fatally, then killed Lindy. He wanted Amanda to know that Lindy had been murdered. His desire to cause Amanda pain persisted after James was arrested. For example, he told his family members that he did not want his children going to live with Amanda's family. The dominant theme of the attitude James maintained was that everything in the world was about his pain. He could not even resist consuming alcohol during his escape attempt. Again, the complete focus was on easing his pain. In addition, James believed that everyone, including the jury, would appreciate how much he was suffering. Not only was he wrapped up in his own pain, everyone else should have been as well. He truly believed a jury would look at how he committed a double homicide and say, "Wow, that man has really been through a lot. Let's give him a break." Like many stalking cases, this one was about dangerously high levels of immaturity, impulsivity, and narcissism. James committed the murders believing that he was the victim. Now moving to my last question, is there anything else that Amanda could have done differently to increase her chances of survival? Two things stand out here. One, when rejecting a romantic partner, it's better to make a clean break. By maintaining a sexual relationship with James, and one with her boyfriend, Amanda gave James something he could use to justify his anger and obsessive behavior. She was handing him ammunition. It was an unforced error. A domestic violence injunction is fundamentally incompatible with a romance. Two, when given the chance to file charges against James, Amanda should have taken it. She failed to do this out of compassion for him, but that compassion was badly misplaced. Those are my thoughts on the case of James Colley. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.